If you feel like you're treading water in your business right now, I want you to stay with me for the next 10 minutes because what I'm about to share, it might be the thing nobody has said to you yet. You're working, you're serving clients, you're paying your team, you're even profitable, and yet growth still feels heavier than it should. Drop a thumbs up in the comments if that hits close to home. Because today I want to talk about the real reason so many capable, hardworking business owners feel stuck in place, even when things look fine on paper. And it has nothing to do with how hard you're working. Here's what I see all the time. A business that's profitable, stable, established, has a real team, but the owner is sitting there thinking, what am I doing wrong? Why does this still feel so hard? Why does it feel like I'm in the same place as I was 2 years ago? And the natural assumption is, I need more time, more clients, more marketing. Maybe I just need to work harder. But that's not it. It's not a time problem and it's not a capability problem. It's a direction problem. Because here's the truth most business owners miss. You can work incredibly hard, build a solid team, and still feel like you're going nowhere if you don't have a clearly defined destination. Effort without direction doesn't create acceleration, it creates drift. And drift is sneaky because the business isn't broken, it's just circling. Today, I want to walk you through three things. First, why mission and vision are not the same thing and why confusing them keeps you stuck. Second, what happens inside a business when there's no strategic GPS in place? And third, one question you can ask yourself right now that will tell you exactly whether you have a destination or not. Most business owners I work with have a really strong mission. They know why they started, they know who they serve, they care deeply about their customers. And that matters. Mission is important. But mission answers one question: why do we exist? Vision answers a completely different question: where are we going? And without a clear answer to the second question, you can be fully committed to your mission, working hard, serving well, and still feel like you're treading water. Because you're rowing with intention, but there's no destination in the GPS. I want to share a story that really illustrates this. I worked with a business owner who originally acquired their company with a really clear personal goal: to build it and eventually to step out. The intention was never to stay in the day to day long term. Fast forward more than 10 years later, and they're still deeply involved in daily operations. The business isn't failing. In fact, it's grown. The team shows up, it pays the bills, but here's what was missing. There was never a clearly defined destination beyond owning the business and building something successful. They had a strong mission, a real reason for being in business, but not a clearly operationalized vision for where the company was headed over the next 3, 5, or 10 years. And because of that, every part of the business was treated as equally important. The team focused on daily operations instead of strategic growth. Investments got made reactively instead of directionally, and there was no defined arrival point. Growth happened, but not intentionally. The result wasn't disaster, it was drift. The business kept moving, but without a chosen destination or measurable milestones to confirm progress. And that lack of strategic direction quietly limited acceleration, and it made long-term goals harder and harder to reach. Does any of that sound familiar? When there's no clear destination, a few things start happening inside your business, and they all feel frustrating in different ways. First, everything feels equally important. Every department needs attention, every opportunity looks interesting, every request feels urgent. And when everything is important, nothing accelerates. Second, decisions become emotional instead of strategic. A slow month hits, a client asks for something new, a competitor makes a move, and you react. Not because you're incapable, but because you don't have a defined direction to measure decisions against. When you have a clear destination, decisions get so much easier. You can quickly say, that's aligned, or that's a distraction. That's strategic, or that's just noise. Without that clarity, every decision feels heavy. Okay, third, effort increases at the same rate as revenue. You're working, your team is working, and revenue might even be growing. But more growth just means more grind. That's a sign you're rowing and not steering. So here's the shift. Inside my work, especially in the Lead Like a CEO Accelerator, we spend a significant amount of time on two things: a clear destination and what I call a strategic GPS. Now, I'm not going to teach that whole framework today. That's a deeper conversation. But I want you to understand the principle. When a business owner installs real strategic clarity, when they know where they're going and they have a roadmap to get there, something shifts. Decisions get faster, investments get more focused, hiring becomes intentional. Trade offs, well, they get easier. And the team stops plugging away at everything equally and starts focusing on what actually drives growth. You stop pressing every lever in front of you and you start pressing the one that creates the most impact. That's CEO level thinking, not working harder, not doing more, aiming better. Okay, if you do nothing else after watching this video, I want you to spend 5 to 10 minutes with this one question. If we doubled revenue in the next 12 months, what would actually have to change? Not how would we work harder, but what would actually need to be different in your business? Would your team structure have to change? Would your offer need to narrow? Would your margins need to improve? Would you need to stop doing certain things entirely? Now, if you can't answer that clearly, you don't have a destination yet. And that's not a failure. That's the most important thing to know because you can't steer towards a destination that you haven't chosen. So let's bring it home. Treading water in your business rarely means you're doing something wrong. It usually means you're doing everything with effort, but without a defined destination. Mission is why you exist, and vision is where you're going. And without vision, without a strategic GPS, your team stays busy, decisions stay heavy, and growth keeps feeling harder than it has to. The shift isn't working more, the shift is aiming better. That's what it means to lead like a CEO and not just an operator. Operators manage what's in front of them. Leaders decide where the business is going. More growth doesn't have to mean more grind, but it does require a destination. If today's video helped you see something clearly, drop your answer to that doubling question in the comments below. I genuinely want to know where you're headed. And if you're ready to build the clarity, structure, and strategic roadmap that removes plateau and creates real intentional growth, grab the Fast Track Freedom 40 guide in the description. It's a great first step to reclaiming your time so you have time to focus on those strategic priorities. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more of this every single week. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next video.